Yeah, Fatalofa to the Natula. Yeah, welcome to our another episode of Silafia podcast. There would say le center Catholic care o lo iro fa mautu mai ele tātou Silafia so Samoa e pe o le group le so sani ai na i o tātou uso o lo fa pe ona ia maore so sani so se mea lava me po le a whainga tono ainga ia me se fo ia a whainga tūra whono ia pe tau mwhai ona whaonga le platform nei to help our uso for men, so it's not limited to men only in age from 18, whoever needs help. But before we get into our program, I want to start this program with the Serenity Prayer. The Serenity Prayer be whaonga I tono AA meetings for Alcohol Anonymous. So to start our program. God grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Yeah, I'm not a translator or interpreter. I tam whaiona whasamoa e pei se vaenga lea o loo lea tua au mailau file mu e mawhai ai ono o talia mea e le mawhai ono o suia. Ma au maile lo to tele e sui ai mea o te mawhaia. Ai sili e tamau a inga mai laua fio ina ia oi no aile e si e senga o mea ia. I lo swafa Yesu. Amen. So our program today, we have to update on the case of the Tamalia. So me Moses Soswani, and also last week, reach out mai na yala for him whanau sa moro o mai le program for le seasonal workers. They needed some help to guide them through the system. Yeah, sa pata sai lava ia sa tau whai ona whafsotai ma avi ia whai pe o le bei whai ona ave so swani si usole na whaina te our first case. So le update line in the case there as usual there. So he actually he had the order from the court. He's on 2 years for the behavior bond. So o le vava ainga fo ile le ai e lo sisi me tupu ia to ia faina fo lona ia au mau ai tono le ainga. And he's serving what is called community service, which is for ile he does have a case worker, as they say, whatever they decide for him to help in terms of for live so strong in the community. Some of these programs, in public places or valingo or more graffitis, those type of works. But in his case, for so he needs to continue with the programs we already implemented. AVO. Continue for instance, he's doing AA programs and anger management. Or let's see for he doesn't have they didn't even give him for a record, not a warning. They gave him a warning, which is a very good outcome for a case. So there's no for for ilele whape he's got a criminal for ilele documented o le a lea ro a be ia ine behavior bond le a for ilele a whape to e tupuro ia pe onga onga ni a whasananga o le ai pe i o le to e a vele to roka e whakupui. So overall, it is a good outcome for him, and also for ilele it gave us foreign ideas and options. There are opportunities for ilele we can, better ourselves not just for within the system itself, but also within our families too. So I spoke to him yesterday. He's quite fear. He's very happy. Now he's back with his family, spending Christmas, which is our goal. Make sure for let's spend time with the kids and so learning things. And the other good thing is the networking. I do actually have some links in the system now that also help give us information. Or the challenge layer, or it's just to get recognitions within in the courts of what we actually have and what we establish here. So we're going through the network of people for ilele kam whaionga whainoa i ere po kalani. And also the credibility for ilele o le for ilele o po kalani nei. So in terms for ilele I recognize in the court, this program is it's good for Samoan men, which is our niche, is to help the Samoan men for the time being. Um, but I also want to talk about AA meeting and how this program is. I believe it's very important, and there are points for it. First of all, or AA meetings for AA groups, it's pretty much available in most of the countries, and even here in Sydney. I've got this book here. It's called AA Reviver. So inside it's have all the list of what do you call of places that you can go to. You don't have to register. It's just to drop in. And I also want to read you what the requirements. So Alcoholic Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve the common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for a membership. We are self supporting through our own contribution. AA is not aligned with any sect, domination, politics, organization, denomination, I meant, politics, organization, or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So, just pretty much in a nutshell, it it just you. You have to be there and have the desire for to better yourself. So, I've been to these groups a few times, and people just talk about it's just offloading. And the good thing is offloading to people they have the same problem. So it is safe for Ilele in terms for Ilele ke le sharing. So whatever you talked about there stays within the group. It stays there. You know what I mean? The feedback I got from some of the people I went to, I advocate for, is they listening to the same thing every week. So it took them a while to for it didn't sink in the alako. I know it's talked about. It's the main focus is yourself. What it benefits you. So when you talk, how do you feel? I offload in the beginning, why they hesitate to talk about. Well, in a few times they visited, they start opening it up. I think in the beginning, I listen. They kind of they might share because I'm there, because of the trust as well. So as soon as I left there, I heard other members, they say, oh, he opened up and then talk. Maybe that's some of the cases. So you could always for a little sui, yeah, you know what I mean? Change. You can see what you see and make changes for a little, especially as an advocate. Changes for for a little, yeah, more so swami. So that's the update from our first case. Now, talking to some of the interpreters, I think I don't know, it is an issue, but it's something that's very alarming. But I'm not here to criticize or anything. All we're here for is take our hat for a little but in the end of the day, is the hat for a little judgment, for a little judgment, for a little we put that aside and wear our hat of helping the people. So it is a challenge because we are human. We brought up in Samoa, so people gossip. So we even gossip ourselves. So that's the challenge that we need to overcome for you know. Now going back to the interpreter, so I try to establish for learners and network link because most of the people, the court order, yes, yeah, you show you are fine to that phone if they require an interpreter. So interpreters is all about a court to go in there because I cannot at the moment, and not everybody's aware of my service. I haven't established in the system yet, so I'm still growing slowly and trying to find ways for it. So, cut the story short, we're trying to make sure we have a communication. If you get an interpreter, will it be a way for whether you can inform myself or give my brochures or so my brochures is these ones there like this. Also Samoa men's group. That's the invitation. Um, so I give my pamphlets out for Ilileta Whainga, fully aware, just to get an awareness of. So this is what we focus on. Oleanga Nu'u. Oleanga Nu'u, ia ole whakeusiano, ia male tulafono. Peo me ia tolu o loo o nawa tau o le fo ele whaonga ina e mwhaiona. Maua e se feso swani. So, for a little, what I'm learning as I go from people that have experiences, e kaua mai e au le model, le whaonga, le AA. Free, you're welcome to come in. We move forward and get feedbacks from the real people and they need there's no models for academic models that someone have theories and all. No, I don't want to get into that. I want it from the real people. People that involved in the violence or domestic violence. They give you all men there and sa o struggle I men sa if you more in the young so it's cater for those people. So AA meeting is highly recommended for free. You go in there, you talk about it. If you need help with the language, I'm quite happy to come with you. If you want to, with my limited English, I can try and for a little. We do have interpreters too. If I also swani for a little, translate because these groups are conducted in English, and some of them don't even barely speak English. They just there as time out from whatever situation they in, and then they surrounded by these people. So it's highly recommended for a little bit. The other thing today, I went for a diabetic test because, and it came back negative. So talking about diabetics, it's a common thing for the community. I may say community in Samoa, in Sydney, not just our Pacific Islanders too. So talking about Pacific Islander, I was Daniel Rhonda. I've been to their workshop. Hi Rhonda, if you're watching this program, I really, really, really support, and I will take my hat off to you for all these years. You always being an advocate, and your story too about how you started this program. It's quite good. It's quite, you know what I mean, emotional, and I'm glad that when I went to there, it was all the data and the research that you've done, and the program, and how you for a little establish yourself within churches. I think it's a good way to for a little for also I think it's all about educating our people how to for a little more me I metal samita and continue on the good work. And the only critics I have for a little for in the targeting. I know you have your own targeting the older people, but to me, older people is already, you know what I mean. I use this word. It's probably too late. I think you should target the children. That's why I suggest you that they perhaps the school is probably the way. But talking to a professor, I can't remember his name. We had a good conversation, and he was talking about for ileleaonga established political awareness in Tonhuahinga. And well, he had his view, I had my views, but that's only kuako ngai au kawha e based in us to alalo, but hopefully, but your program is up and going. It's pretty good, and I enjoy listening to it. You have all the communities, like we have the Fijian community, the Tokelauans, I don't know, the Niueans, and also Samoa, Fiki, and Konga. So, yep. So that's a good turn up that day, and keep up the good work. Pacific Preventing Diabetic Program. So if you want to Google that, it will come up. So it's pretty much here in Sydney. But if you are not in Sydney, or you are somewhere else in the world, you can actually pretty much Google diabetics programs to actually help our people. Our not our Samoan people, but Pacific Island people. So it is important that we actually talk about food. Food, when I was listening to some of the people, they talk about food is like a celebration to our people. It's a funny the story that Setu. I watched Setu, that controversial influencer, Samoan guy. He's talking about him and his Palangi friends. They went to the shopping center, and his Palangi friends was just, and then Setu asked them, where can we go and get some food? And his Palangi friend turns around and say, why? And Setu said, aren't we going to have something to eat? No, we are here to buy me a shirt. You know, we're not here to buy food. We're just here to buy a shirt. So he spent like $40 on the shirt, and when they went to eat, and it was looking like a whole Big Mac meal, and said, "What a waste of time!" So you end up buying like $5 just chips. And what it actually, the moral of the story is that's how we perceive ourselves as islanders, because we grow up, food is more important than our offals. It should be the other way around. So Situ was saying you spend $40 on a meal, and look, you didn't even buy a shirt. You look as though, what a waste of money buying a shirt. Well, that's the mentality for little food, because we grew up in that environment of food, create excitement of food and all that. So we need to change that mindset. And that's a good point that he made. If you go to Samoa, if I little lower for yeah, especially if I little lower goods, a lot of foods there are canned foods, a lot of preservatives in it. It's no, and they say there for them it's no fresh food. For them over here, you can get a steak. And that's pretty much people try to get ours. We just get mutton fat, and mutton fat is 99% fat, multi-BP and all that kind of stuff. It's food. It's not good for us that we eat it. You know what I mean? And we leave out the proper foods, which is fish and all that, because we need to break that cycle. And my kids are the same at home. It's just, especially with Uber services now, it's pretty much, it's more like a convenient, not a lifestyle. It's different. The lifestyle is totally different from us. It makes you sad. So, yeah, this time of the year is the end of the year of Boilena. Congratulations to our kids who have, kids they actually did the hard work and it's rewarding in the HSC's results won't be coming out till next year, my understanding. But kids, your hard work's paid off and continue for the study hard. And this time of the year, it's all about rewarding your effort during the year. So if you pakalale, you actually you don't get you know what I mean? Yeah. E whao pongo whainga o tama kota whiwhia o te mātama le whanua noa. So those this is the time to celebrate and acknowledge the achievements of our kids and even ourselves too. The hard work that you put in during the week, the years, working hard for your family, you turn around and say, thank the Lord for what He has given and appreciate. Yeah, money is the rule of all evil, but it's not money, it's the love of money, it's the rule of all evil. So, talking about controversial, we've said to, I was watching his podcast before I came here. He was interviewed by Dom Harvey. Is one of the podcasts in this, and apparently it's one of the podcasts. There's a lot of very little views I said to I can relate to, very little in terms of the depression. Or longer view for Lille is totally different from the academic and how people are educated and understand about stress and all that. I respect his view as an individual, but he's as me as a sufferer of depression for a very, very long time. And I was on his side before. I always because the way I grew up in the islands, mental health it was just taboo. It's like sex and all that. It wasn't a subject that we talk a lot about. Mental health was like shake it off and move on. Life is all that kind of attitude towards for little mental health. But as soon I got mental depression for over 20 years now. You know what I mean? And so yeah, a lot of mindset up there. When people talk about depression. But I think we said to it's a kind of going at depression. I think that it's a throwaway line for depression. That's a totally different depression. Talking about the real stuff, the imbalanced chemicals in your brain. But that is a deeper kind of for a little depression. The people, when he talks about Robin Williams and how all that kind of stuff, none of that matters when you have this deep depression, anxiety, and it's closer to psychotic. So leanga lulu ya kako, it's for lele fape. Oh, kakalai leanga lulu. So, but it is a disease. It is something that actually can be cured. It's like someone that actually had a HIV or something like diabetics. It's a disease of the brain. It just we weren't educated enough to understand that, and our culture as well have a lot of help in actually not really talk about these types of things. But now we're living in a different era, era of a lot of information and a lot of research actually get into it. So I do say to you, keep up the good work. You are a good. I love your programs. I love your what do you call that? what do you call it, when you your posts on Facebook and all that. When I do the scroll and I come to you, I stop and listen to your views. Your views are entitled to your views, but as someone that actually suffer, I think for a little bit you need to understand a little bit more about deep depression when it comes to that, because it do exist, and it's something that we really have to raise awareness of people that actually suffer from it. Not think, oh, it's something that you can shake it off. That's a different type of depression you're talking about. It's just every day, oh, you're depressed, so you shake it off. And no, some people. But I understand your point that you say some people, when they in trouble with the law, they use it as an excuse. That's totally a different thing. That's abusing, and what do you call it, manipulating what actually what really the presence is just for their own fair good, which is everybody does. Like when you involve in criminal activities, they fight for everything and use every excuses to get out of it. So, but interestingly, for yeah, yes, he's a very funny man, and he talks about some of the points he's made is very authentic. Some of his views very authentic because we grew up in a different environment, and we our uses were conditioned differently. The way you're conditioned, your behavior, because of your surrounding and the people behave around. That's where you adapt your personality from, Malo, for a mindset around that type of environment. So I think Ole Marlamba more about it, talking more about it. But for those people, they trying to avoid shit you from getting on their whatever the podcast. Yeah, they have their own views, and I think you've got to allow people to. This is what he also talks about: freedom of speech. It's a freedom of speech. Is there such thing as freedom of speech? It's very difficult, but it is no such because people put guidelines and barriers into to stop people have the freedom of their opinion because they don't want to upset someone else or upset a group of people. He also had a view on what's that gay situation in this. It was quite interesting, and this is the first time I listened to the podcast. But he's a controversial figure, and I like it. He's very funny too. Some of the things, some of his, like that Usgang. Yeah, Usgang. I love watching Usgang. Have a bit of a laugh and all this thing. But that also reminds me, our people sometimes use humor to hide behind very, very serious depression. And as depression and anxiety for they use humor. I don't know if it's a good way or a funny way discarding, things in reality. When it comes to abuse as well, especially abusing of children, we use comedy and abusing our partners and all that, using that type of for a little cover a little. There's no place for violence. Talking about violence, the incidents our hearts and prayers are going out to families of those who actually died in that massacre last Sunday. It's just heartbreaking for a little the thing someone actually can come out of a gun and shoot people that are defenseless, especially a young child. Is only 10. Why are you killing other people? Especially someone defenseless. There's no weapons. If you want to shoot someone, go and shoot someone, or go back to where you come from and do that type of behavior, shooting people. But innocent people die from that. But hearts and prayers goes out to that. So hopefully the government's actually, it's not an easy task for our governments. I know it's a lot of. Australia is a very good country. I live here for over 30 years, and it's blessed me. And but I kind of question governments when they come in, what are their motives and what they stand for, because you got to look at the welfare of people and life is the most important thing, especially young life. You lost young life, that's even worse. But anyhow, this period is Christmas time, so I might try and squeeze in another podcast before Christmas. And but have a good week. Uh, and the weather today, I'm telling you what, it's like I bought my Yili, my fan. It was clock in at 11 or 12 o'clock, 43 degrees here in our area. You know, Western Sydney, it was like 43. But, 43 on our thermometer. That shows you how hot it is. So, drink a lot of water. I brought my water with me. Drink a lot of water and keep cool. I think tomorrow will be 40, 41, 42. They're all in the high 30s. So make sure you have plenty of water and have plenty of rest. Luckily, we have air conditioning. I remember moving into our place in the beginning. We had visitors from Samoa. This is what and we had a portable aircon. We had a very small aircon. And I remember this is like 20 years ago. We all huddled up in our lounge area with this small aircon. It was so hot. And we all slept. It was like, how many of us? Like 8 or 10 of us. But now we've got a proper aircon like the one behind me, a split system. So it cools a lot. And that's been going on for a while. But electricity prices are going up as well. So, well, it was a pleasure talking to you, Ileneato. And also, I want to congratulate the Tinaya Fa'alu. A similar program like this is for women. It's called I Can. Congratulations. 7 years since it's been established. And if I have some photos, I will post it on our podcast. And congratulations. Also, Pin is part of our podcast, Pacific Internet or Integrated Networking. I think today was their last day for the break for Christmas. So congratulations for those two groups. And there's a lot of our people, a lot of community services, people that are helping each other out there. But my opinion, this is my opinion only, it's not enough for Lele. There's not aware of I don't know if since for Lele people are doing their own thing because of the grant from the government motivation. In terms, once you get the grant, you tend to not be able to help people. It's a business, right? We have that business model, but we try to stay away from that type of attitude to it because services is mainly for. So our services is no cost. It's all based on volunteer. We volunteer our time and our time and effort to help our people. So that's from me tonight. Thanks if you come this far watching the program. Thank you, thank you for your support. Oh, by the way, the last time I posted the podcast, it was the most viewers I ever had. They even sent me something. It was like 500 or 600 views. So continue to view our program if you like to share. No force. If you want to share this program and you think this is benefit for our men, and please, if you have a comment, like if you want to say something or make a comment about anything, or if you think that program is helping someone that you love and someone in your family, I'm here to help as much as I can. But have a good weekend coming up, and hopefully I see you. If I don't see you, have a very very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year's. And God bless. Mania, Kaftai. See you later.